Hi, almost everyone is watching my channel without a subscription. Please support me and subscribe. I release videos every day for you. Story 1. My wife, who had cancer, lied to me about her cancer treatment and her degree. She had a life to live. I don't know what even to do. My whole world has been shattered. We've known for a while she's had breast cancer, but it was caught early and responding to chemo. She dropped a bombshell yesterday when I told her I'd be about an hour late picking her up from chemo. She tells me, "Don't worry, I don't need it anymore." Wait, what? How? Why? As it soon turns out, she's stopped treatment. The cancer has spread everywhere now. She's dying. At best, she has not even 6 months left. She says there's a good chance chemo will not work, and at best all it'll do is give her time. Of course I was mad. I've never yelled at her. I've never fought with her, but last night I felt betrayed. Like a part of me died. She's dying, and she's lied to me about it. She's been skipping chemo treatments for the past 2 months, so that means she has 4 months at best to live. What was she planning not to tell me and just randomly die? She tells me she doesn't know, but she was scared and coming to terms with the fact her life was going to end soon. I don't know how to even feel. I'm so numb. I can't face life without her. We have a family, kids, a life. She can't be dying. She can't be giving up. Am I wrong to feel so afraid of facing the future alone? Am I wrong to feel so betrayed, so upset over her lie? This is life or death. How could she lie to me like this? I feel so goddamn betrayed. I've just been crying. I don't know what to even do. Told her. Wife has terminal breast cancer. Stop treatment without telling anyone. I feel betrayed and scared by her lie. Update. Well, I've had time to collect my thoughts. I can't blame her or be mad at her for lying to me. I fully understand. I just get emotional and was overwhelmed. Truth is, all that is minor compared to what's coming. Well, bad news, she had a seizure Monday, and we rushed her to the ER. Her timetable has shifted. She'll be lucky to make it through May. As we were told, 6 months is the absolute best situation. But even through May, it's not set through stone. It's possible she won't even last that long. Her cancer is very aggressive, and without treatment, it's just everywhere now. It's a matter of which tumor kills her. The tumors have spread. She's got a few small orange sizes pushing into her brain now, and a large soccer ball-sized one in her chest. You can feel it too. It's pushing her ribs out and incredibly painful. The seizures are a bad sign. It's ought to get a whole lot worse. She's lost a lot of energy and is in a lot of pain now. She's only awake for a few hours a day. That's all she can handle. It's scary how fast it came over her. 8 days ago, I thought she was fine. Neither of us are ready for the end. We can't even plan farewell party because our state is locked down. As for my wife, she's 50/50ths. The seizure scared her. She's finding it difficult to accept her life is over. Some days she's fine, but other days she's crying and can't accept it. I try my best to remain strong, but it's not easy. I'm terrified like I've never been before. But we can't spend all day crying. We're doing the best we can to make as much memories as we can before the end. We get to tell our kids. I don't know exactly how to tell them your mom is very sick and is going to go to heaven soon. Neither of us can muster the strength, but we'll have to because the end is coming. My youngest is immature for his age and doesn't comprehend death. Our daughter, who is 13, understands. She's perceptive and knows something is up. I apologized if I came off as rude in my last post. I was overwhelmed with emotions. I appreciate everyone for the advice. I don't think I'll be returning for another update. I'll probably delete this account in a bit. I just want to thank every one of y'all for your warm comments and support. I'm sorry I never got around to replying to most your comments. We just got busy and Reddit was the last thing on my mind. Unfortunately, my wife passed away Monday. I really want to keep this brief, so I apologize. It was just so sudden. We were watching a movie Sunday with our kids and she had a seizure. We were used to them by now, but this one was really violent, very different. The nurse called 911, and we rushed her to the ER, and that was that. She just never woke up. No final words, nothing, just gone. One moment she's laughing, and then the next she's gone. It's taken a moment to realize she's gone. I'll never see her again. I'm grateful we spent the final days making memories, ensuring we would never forget her. She was a wonderful woman, and I will miss her. I really appreciate everything all have done. As I said, I won't be replying to most. I don't plan to stick around, so please do not give me gold or spend money on me. I don't plan to reveal any personal information or elaborate further. Still, I genuinely appreciate this sub and the kind people who have given me lots of heartfelt sympathies and advice. Story 2. My mother hates me for telling my sister the truth. I want to preface this with an apology if it's all over the place. There's so much information to sort through and decide what does or doesn't have a place here. I'll reply to what I can and make edits for any common questions/remarks. So a little or a lot of background is required for this to make any sense. Many years ago, my mother had an affair that completely blew up our family. I suppose the affair was the lesser issue, but rather all her other actions that screwed many of us over. For context, I was 10, my younger sister was 7/8, and my older sister almost 14, all female. To start with, in the years prior, my mother had taken out tens of thousands of dollars in loans and credit cards in my dad's name, of which he was never aware of. Ignorant, absolutely, but she had always managed all finances while a Som. She also managed to make 5 years of GST payments disappear from the business account, for which Dad was then charged with 2 charges, around $100K in fines, of tax evasion on top of the missed payments. All 3 of us kids had a bank account set up from young, which our dad had added to so that we would be in a positive position when we were older for university or a house deposit, whatever it was that we desired. Being saving-orientated even as a kid, I had chosen to put 100% of any money earned through chores or gifted for birthdays into the account. At 14, when I began working and gained access to net banking, I realized Mom had drained my account, less $50, only my account. If that wasn't enough, her own mother had stored a sum of money in my parents' safe that was intended for her funeral. My mother took every last dollar and refused to pay it back. My dad paid it back with interest when he found out. Due to the tricky financial situation, Dad had to travel for work, wherever the trade was needed in that moment. Typically, he would leave in the early hours of Monday morning and return on Saturday afternoon. In this time, my mother felt it appropriate to leave us at home so that she could visit the affair partner, usually not coming home for days at a time. Nobody knew. We had no carers or access to resource, as we lived a 20-minute drive to the nearest town/stores. This went on for a few weeks before my mom, sometimes, contacted our cousin to come stay with us while she was out. To this day, I believe it only happened because the other guy figured out what was going on. Due to timing of people coming and going, our dad didn't know any of this happened to until months later. I kept quiet because I knew he couldn't afford to stay home. All this said, I stepped into the parent role. My little sister was kept in the dark as much as possible. I did my best to maintain her same routine so that she felt as little impact as possible. Obviously, she suffered to the point of requesting to sleep in my bed every night for a year. But it seems that she doesn't remember any of the shitty things that happened back then. My older sister was very mentally ill, where I had to medicate her each morning and conduct daily body and room checks. Those who know will get what I'm suggesting. To the best of my knowledge, our little sister never saw any of this. I didn't and don't believe those are subject such little eyes should have to witness. The older sister was also really ashamed and is asked to keep this situation away from the youngest, as she had a habit of speaking without realizing or knowing the potential damage. As much as I hated the responsibility, cooking, cleaning, hiding the family's dirty laundry, I was also very aware that what was happening wasn't okay. That if I couldn't keep it together and matters hidden, that authorities would become involved. Those times were scary, but the idea of not having access to and control over what happened to me or my siblings felt like it would be worse. These are only the first things that come to mind, but the details aren't exactly the point of this post. Anyway, I guess my younger sisters, soon-to-be-in-laws, have asked some questions, of which my sister doesn't have the ability to answer. I would suggest she asked our mother first, but the queries would have been shut down. I know she feels guilty, knows that she screwed up, and frankly, I hope she never forgives herself for it. So little sister came to me, and for the first time in 15 years, I was willing to give her the answers she was looking for. I've always been vague, not wanting to cause her pain, but I've started feeling guilty in recent years for not treating her as enough of an adult to make her own decisions. After a lot of therapy, I have realized that I don't have to be their parent anymore. My sister cried, I cried, and she apologized for assumption made in words, said because she didn't know any better in the past. She needs and wants time to process a whole lot of information that's entirely new to her, that has quite literally flipped the way she has perceived many people over the years. Anyway, she isn't speaking to our mother right now, and that's where it becomes my problem, I guess. She called me, blowing up, claiming I've ruined her relationship with her daughter. That I ought to get her, resentful without cause and need to stop living in the past. But I don't see how me being honest about her actions is my fault. Could I have filtered details? Maybe. But I don't understand why I should have to hold onto the pressure of keeping her shortcomings secret. Maybe it's time to grow up and pay for the consequences of your actions. Edit. To add genders. In the comments, she's never taken any responsibility, only made excuses. My favorite was the one for her leaving us to care for ourselves. You all made it clear you didn't want to spend time with me. I feel like she thought she'd gotten away with it at this point, and that's why she's mad. To be honest, I only told my sister for selfish reasons. We've only in recent years developed a close relationship, and I didn't want to lose it if she became mad at me for not telling her anything. I know there was always a layer of resentment towards me for thinking I was the boss of her. She needed somebody to be mad at, and at the time I was okay with that person being me. Children and young adults get mad at the people it is safe to be mad at. It sounds like you took that anger to give her a safe space and a safe person. Now that she's of an age where she is old enough to hear the truth, where it's safe for her to be angry at your mom without risking breaking your family apart, you've given her the truth. That's quite heroic. I hope you find the peace and space to have a life of your own free from your mother's negligent abuse. You've certainly more than earned it. OP, I never considered the aspect of somebody needing to be safe to be mad at them. That puts a lot into perspective. Thank you. Tell my mother has no influence over my life or feelings. I stopped regarding her as a parental figure long ago, so her opinion of me, someone she really had no part in molding, means nothing. Don't get me wrong, I do not place the blame for all wrongdoings exclusively on her. But she was certainly the catalyst for most of the difficult seasons. Every action or inaction I've ever made has been a decision to protect the other people she hurt, which only served to protect her from backlash, and I think it's time she faced up. In some ways, I think caring for them was all that kept me sane. I was so busy and exhausted by the day-to-day motions that I didn't have time to reflect on my own feelings or the situation as a whole. Full survival mode, I suppose. I appreciate that a lot. I tried my best, in hindsight, doing for them what I probably needed myself. She was cut out for a very long time. The stolen money from myself was the absolute last straw, which resulted in me going no contact for about 5 years. Part of me thinks she was glad for that too, because I'd threatened to press charges against the mystery thief if she didn't fess up. But because of my sister's age and her eventually choosing to live with Mom, I felt compelled to be civil because I missed my sister. I live 4 hours from my hometown now, so maintaining a healthy distance is really quite easy. Curious about your dad, how is he doing? After knowing the truth, did your younger sister go living with your dad? And did he divorce your mother? And all that money she stole, what was she doing with that money? Did you get any of your money back? OP, he's doing really good, but of course it had a long time to pick up the pieces. In his 50s and still working 6 days a week. Not because he needs to, but because he's never known anything else. His parents were immigrants, so it was quite literally bred into him. She's 22 now and living with her partner. She and Dad never had a strained relationship, but after years of living exclusively with him, decided to spend the next few years with Mom. Never any bad blood on either end where she's concerned. They did divorce long ago, and as much as I find it strange, they still have a relatively positive relationship. The money? Literally, who knows? Never saw a cent returned though. Dad didn't know she stole from me until 6-ish years ago. Early on he was struggling, and I knew he'd try to put the money back if I told him. He knew something had happened for me not to talk to my mother all those years, but I hadn't told him, and she sure wasn't going to. Recently my husband and I built our first home, and he was insistent on cutting trade swaps to save money, which I strongly feel was his way of repaying her debt to me. He's a great dad, has his flaws as every human does, but every step he's taken has been with the intention of his kids not having to want for things as he and his siblings did. I'd only tolerated her in the past to keep my sister close. I don't trust our mother to not hurt her in the process of getting what she wants. The partner's family aren't stupid, and while they will hand out finance, they will never relinquish control of it. If they suspect somebody of having ill intent, they're cut out of all their lives. Mom's husband does pretty well for himself and pays all their living expenses, but knowing her past will not give her unbridled access, so she has to work to support her spending habit, which is probably where the jealousy comes in. I used to tell my sister that I don't really know, can't remember, or have only heard snippets of the story, so not necessarily a lie but definitely deceit by omission. First update. And now she's resorted to posting on Facebook, claiming that one of her ingrates are spreading rumors to ruin her JFC. I don't even have Facebook, so I'm not really sure what she's trying to achieve in doing this, but an old family friend called my dad to ask what's going on. Also, I'm speaking to nobody about the situation. I don't even live in our hometown. If nothing else, she has nothing for me to ruin. No way I'm engaging or sinking to her level, but seriously, what a waste of a person. Now the parents are fighting, she's fighting with her current husband, and shit is all around just getting messy. She thinks she's making people feel sorry for her, but mostly she just looks pathetic, if you ask me. Update 2. Turns out I really don't need to sink to her level. That's been taken care of while I sleep. I guess mom's privacy settings aren't great, and that's working against her. The vague "woe is me" post has been shared by 3 family members or friends with a single, but far less cryptic, one-liner. I'm told, "Oh, you mean the ingrate that raised your kids? Should she be more grateful for your affair, or the complete and utter abandonment of your 3 kids, and my absolute favorite from my granny? Rot in hell, you lying, thieving bitch."